We're coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios. This is Prime News on SABC 3. Here are the top stories making headlines.
City Power, they will pay the 3.2 billion rents over a period of 4 years.
City Power and Eskom have reached a 3.2 billion rand settlement after months of talks.
I think that this whole 12-day war triggered most of this high volatility when it comes to oil prices.
Oil prices have eased and the rand has strengthened after US President Donald Trump announced a ceasefire in the Iran-Israel war.
There were 28 murders within our basic education institutions. Shockingly, near half occurred in KwaZulu-Natal.
Basic Education Minister Sifiwe Gwagube and Police Minister Senzo Mchunu launched the Safe School Protocol to combat violence in schools. Good evening and welcome to Prime News on 3. A pleasure it is to be in your company this evening as we bring you the latest happening in and around your world. I am Paulette Nell. Let's start first with this. Electricity Minister Dr. Kgosentso Ramokgopa has confirmed a major financial breakthrough. City Power and Eskom have reached a 3.2 billion rand debt settlement deal. The agreement means Joburg's power utility will now repay the debt over the next 4 years. Ramokgopa made the announcement during a media briefing in Braamfontein today.
The agreement for City Power to settle the 3.2 billion debt comes after Eskom issued a notice in November threatening to cut power supply to Johannesburg residents. The settlement was reached following a mediation process after a court instructed both parties to resolve the payment dispute. Minister of Electricity and Energy says the two parties have finally reached common ground.
City Power, they will pay the 3.2 billion rents over a period of 4 years. So it's important that there's an appreciation that this is a big ticket of 3.2 billion rents. Of course, that amount has been in dispute, and City Power, I want to emphasize, and City of Johannesburg have done everything possible to maintain paying the current account, despite all these difficulties.
The city believes that improvements to its billing system will boost collections and reduce the number of complaints.
Then we've done the data update, Mr. Mayor, in terms of the billing process to make sure that we tighten the collection from the billing system and that the bill is correct, reduce the number of queries.
City Power has responded to residents' concerns over possible overcharging.
When we then installed the new meters, it meant that we will then have to recover the basic charges of the previous months. So this has happened for a number of customers. We will continue to issue communication around that. We will engage with the affected customers.
Electricity Minister added that stressing the rising cost of electricity remains one of his top priorities. Lerato Makula, SABC News in Johannesburg.
To repair the infrastructure damage caused by severe weather and floods in the Eastern Cape will cost about 5.1 billion rand. This as the number of people who have perished during the floods continue to increase. The Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs briefed Parliament about the disaster earlier today.
Adverse weather conditions that left fatalities and damaged more than 6,800 homes, leaving more than 4,700 people homeless. Schools and health facilities, roads, electricity and water infrastructure has also been damaged. The area has been classified as a disaster and is still being monitored.
Under classification, all departments have been activated and they are on board. And I want to assure the portfolio that should there be an extra stumbling block that requires a declaration, we will consider going to that state.
The department says humanitarian relief and response measures are underway through activating relief funds within departments. No request for emergency relief has been made to the contingency reserves yet.
Every year we budget to what is called the reserve. We wanted to bump it up, but the resources didn't allow us. So it's sitting at about 5 billion as we speak.
Kotongwana expressed concern that they are already witnessing inflation in food parcels. Lulama Matya, SABC News, Parliament.
Learner violence, including rape and murder, was highlighted by Basic Education Minister Siviwe Gwagube and Police Minister Senzo Mchunu today. In an attempt to combat violence in schools, the two ministers have agreed to take another step towards making schools across the country safer for learners and teachers. They launched the Safe Schools Protocol, which is a plan to create safer spaces for teaching and learning to take place.
Basic Education Minister Siviwe Gwagube shared some statistics.
During the 2023-2024 financial year, there were 28 murders within our basic education institutions. Shockingly, near half occurred in KwaZulu-Natal, and 46% of these murders were those involved learner-on-learner violence. 2/3 of rapes in our schools also involved learner-on-learner violence.
Her counterpart in the police ministry, Senzo Mchunu, described schools as being sacrosanct.
The children are supposed to go there peacefully, secured, and take lessons from their teachers and all of that. Now, when something happens via an intruder from outside, but even more seriously, when other children become violent against others, it really represents something, a South Africa that we don't want to see.
Mchunu made it clear that the SAPS need to find different strategies to what it's been using. Problem areas have been identified, and of the 24,000 schools around the country, 283 have been identified as hotspot schools. Abra Barbia, SABC News, Parliament.
Welcome back. Now on to this. The ANC in KwaZulu-Natal has officially dissolved all 11 regions of the party. The decision was made by the Provincial Task Team, which was introduced earlier this year. The party says this is to kickstart the rebuilding process of all its structures ahead of the local government elections next year.
The ANC in KwaZulu-Natal says the process of rebuilding the party is in full swing. The party's support in the province dropped from 54% to 17% after last year's general elections, resulting in the party losing control of the province. The Provincial Task Team, consisting of over 60 members, has resolved to disband all its 11 regions.
These task team consist of capable, disciplined, and committed cadres who have demonstrated unwavering loyalty to the movement and a capacity for organizational leadership. They are entrusted with restoring stability, unity, and a renewed sense of purpose within all our structures in the ANC and the broader alliance.
Fresh from holding a 2-day alliance summit on local government and service delivery, the ANC has assured depositors of the troubled Ithala Sock Limited that National Treasury has agreed to rescue the institution from liquidation.
In the agreement that we have reached with the Minister of Finance, he will now provide a guarantee for all depositors, rather than only for those whose deposits are up to 100,000.
On governance matters, the party says it will soon convene a special water summit in an effort to improve the provision of water across all municipalities. Simpiwe Makanya, SABC News, Durban.
The Democratic Alliance marked its 25th year of existence at an old age home in Hanover Park in Cape Town today. DA leader John Steenhuisen says he will make an announcement in due course regarding his role in the party. He says he respects the work done by the party over the years, including expanding, and now as a part of the Government of National Unity, he would like to continue to lead.
John Steenhuisen says he loves the DA, and when he took over in 2019, much work lay ahead. Many believed the party had run its course, but in 2024, its presence was bolstered and it now boasts several cabinet ministers. Steenhuisen says there is optimism about the party's future.
The country has been greatly served by having the DA, whether it was when we were in opposition or now in government, and I'm looking forward to the next 25 years. The DA is on a growth trajectory, a very far cry from when it was in 2019. We've been able to rebuild, we've been able to regain, and we've been able to extend, and that has to continue.
Steenhuisen and other DA leaders spent time with several of the elderly residents of Hanover Park cottages. Here, there is a loyal support for the party.
All the years I've been voting for the DA, and I will still vote for them, but I'm happy what they are doing and what they're still going to do.
As long as I live and I'm not well, every time I'm sick, I got body pains and stuff, but I love DA. No matter what people say about them, no matter what people think about them, I don't care.
Celebrations included cake and handing out blankets as part of a national drive. Mariska Botha, SABC News, Cape Town.
The case against 42-year-old police officer Nzima Duns, who is accused of the alleged abduction of the 19-year-old Kamagelo Baukudi in Bloemfontein, has been postponed to the 30th of June for formal bail application. The state prosecutor told Bloemfontein Magistrates Court that the matter has been amended from Schedule 1 to Schedule 5 as the weight of the charges against Duns are now stronger. Baukudi has been missing for 19 days after he was taken on the 5th of June. He was allegedly abducted by two men who purported to be policemen. Previously, it was revealed that the suspect demanded ransom from his mother. We're going to take a quick ad break. Plenty more coming up just after this. Do stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. We continue with this. Oil prices have fallen sharply today to their lowest in more than a week. This followed Israel and Iran agreeing to a fragile ceasefire, which was immediately breached by Israel. U.S. President Donald Trump has since been posting messages on social media urging both sides to stick to the ceasefire and, in unprecedented fashion, reprimanded Israel for its violating conduct. Brent crude oil prices have fallen by over $14 since yesterday's high.
Brent crude oil traded as low as $67 a barrel today. This after breaching through $81 a barrel in yesterday's trade when market players waited to see how Iran would react to the US's attacks on its nuclear facilities over the weekend. Iran chose to perform a symbolic retaliation wherein it first warned the United States and Qatar that it would make an assault on the US's military bases in Qatar, giving them ample time to evacuate any personnel. Subsequently, Trump tweeted indicating that there had been an agreement to a ceasefire between Israel and Iran, giving timelines for the ceasefire with an expectation that the 12-day war would be over within 24 hours of the ceasefire agreement.
This whole 12-day war triggered most of this high volatility when it comes to oil prices. I mean, just yesterday, Brent crude was almost within $10 range, which is huge because this is the wildest since July 2022.
Market players are now turning their attention to U.S. Fed Chair Jerome Powell's testimony to Congress, which is set to take place this week, focusing on monetary policy. Meanwhile, the local JSE market traded in positive territory today, although the resources counters were in the red, with the local currency also firming, trading around 17.72 against the US dollar, ahead of the market's close. Nampumela Losiziba, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Today marks 30 years since the South African national rugby team won the Rugby World Cup at Ellis Park in Johannesburg when they beat New Zealand 15-12 in the final. The victory became significant because it was the first sporting success for a newly democratic South Africa. The win was said to help unify the country and give the Rainbow Nation a feel-good moment to lean on for years to come. 30 years on, and everyone involved in rugby recalls the 1995 World Cup win as a watershed moment which kick-started sporting success in South Africa.
With the odds stacked against them, the 1995 Springboks pull off the seemingly impossible, beating the All Blacks and lifting the Rugby World Cup for the first time in 1995. It would become the high point for Springbok rugby for years to come. The victory, however, transcended rugby and became a bright and shining moment in the new and democratic South Africa. The significance of the 1995 World Cup is not lost on the incumbent and first black Springbok captain, Siya Kolisi.
I was for it, but obviously I've seen videos and I've seen the impact that it's done, not only in rugby but in South Africa in general. We all know. I think that's why people look up to the team or look to the team so much because of what happened in 1995.
SA Rugby President Mark Alexander says the 1995 Rugby World Cup final was a defining moment for South Africa.
I think that was a landmark moment in our nation. It's a landmark moment. It's a moment where things change in our country, where we started the process, how strong we are when we stand together as a country.
Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie, like many of his compatriots, can still recount many key moments in the World Cup final.
When Jules Krantz kicked the ball over, he kicked us into our new future. That's my fondest memory.
Simon Burke, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Meanwhile, Springboks coach Rassie Erasmus has included 4 uncapped players in his squad to face the Barbarians in an unofficial match in Cape Town on Saturday. Flanker Vincent Chituka and tight head prop Asena Tintlabakanye will start, while hooker Marnus van der Merwe and another tight head Nietling Foshe are the uncapped replacements on the bench. The Springboks will begin the international season with a head-out against the Barbers in an exhibition match that does not have test status.
Lock forward Louet de Jager gets a run in the green and gold for the first time since 2023. Siya Kolisi will captain the side that includes 9 World Cup winners in the starting 15. Erasmus says he needs sober and experienced heads amongst his squad just in case the game gets out of hand, which can happen in a Barbarians-style match.
No, but it's when it's not going so well that we need those steady hands in between, and if you got a Barbarian team which will come to entertain, sometimes you need just a little bit control in the game.
There are a further 5 World Cup gold winners on the bench, which sees a conservative 5-3 split between forwards and backs. It's not an ideal state of affairs for an uncapped player chasing a first test cap, which won't happen against the Barbarians. But Vincent Chituka says he will take what he can get as he aims to soak up the atmosphere of a Bok game.
I have no doubt that there'll be a crowd and they'll be loud, and it will be an atmosphere that will be hard to forget. And I think for me it's trying to put that aside and actually focus on bring the best foot forward for my game this weekend.
After the clash against the Barbarians, the Springboks will play 2 tests against Italy and 1 against Georgia in July. Simon Burke, SABC News.
Time now to check out what the weather has in store for us. Stay tuned.
Good evening to you. Let's see what the weather has in store for us for the next couple of days. Partly cloudy skies expected in the Western Cape overnight. That's ahead of a cold front, whilst it'll be clear and cold through the central parts of the country in towards the northeastern parts of South Africa overnight. Ahead towards Wednesday, a nice sunny day through the northeastern parts and eastern coastline of the country, whilst in the west it's a different picture entirely, with widespread rainfall expected around Cape Town and an increase in wind speeds up to 50 kilometers an hour. That's with the arrival of a cold front, leading to some alerts from the Weather Service. Of course, damaging waves are likely from Namibia southwards towards Cape Town and in and around the Cape Peninsula. The potential of damaging winds as well, extended through the interior and parts of the Northern Cape, Free State, Eastern Cape, expecting the potential for damaging winds. Be on the lookout for that, as well as dry and windy conditions that could lead to fires through the shade of red on the map. Uppington dropping overnight to 10 degrees. Cape Town down to 12 overnight. Gqeberha 13. Durban 14. -1 expected in Bethlehem. Whilst we see Johannesburg dipping to 4 degrees, the same as Pretoria. Overnight, headed towards a sunny 19 degrees through the afternoon on Wednesday. High 20s expected through northern KwaZulu-Natal. Durban up to 25 tomorrow. East London up to a maximum of 30, whilst it's expected to be quite cold in the Western Cape with just 14 in Cape Town tomorrow. Worcester up to 16. Lots of rainfall and cloud cover expected in those parts. That's it from me. Have a great evening ahead.
That concludes our time together this evening. Much gratitude for joining us. Until next time, it's good night and God peace.